Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and in this video we're going to be looking at the MacBook Pro Mid 2012 15-inch model, which has the Intel i7 core processor, which is the 3720QM, which is a 3rd gen Intel core processor. Now this computer has a cool boot up as you listen in here. Man, that has to hit you with the nostalgic feel of the original Apple products. Now this computer, as mentioned before, featured the i7 core processor, and it has a regular 5400 RPM hard drive, which is a 750 gigabyte SATA 3 drive. Now the cool part about this featured a DDR5 memory, which was a Intel HD graphics card, which had a gigabyte of dedicated memory for gaming. Now this thing has many different ports on it, which the newer MacBooks don't have anymore, which is an Ethernet port, a SD port and everything, a headphone jack microphone port, and a couple other ports that I can't quite remember the names of. But other than that, the display of this MacBook Pro is a 1440 by 900 LED Retina display, which this one unfortunately is the glossy one. Now this computer features macOS Mojave, which is version 10.14.6, which is kind of outdated due to the fact that OS Catalina is out right now, and this thing is nearing 8 years old, meaning it's probably lost support in the last 2 years, but it's still a pretty good laptop to pick up if you're in the market for one, as these are going for roughly $200 to $300, or you can even snatch a deal for under $150. Now the cool part about this has everything you need if you are integrated in the Apple ecosystem with an iPhone, iPad, or anything like that. And another cool part, it has almost like a phone type interface on the top with the connection type, which is weak, medium, or strong, and also the battery percentage and everything, and the time and day. As for web browsing, this thing is pretty decent while playing videos in under 1080p, but it says 1080p on YouTube. But again, this is a Retina display, which is kind of Apple's way of explaining the in-between of 720 and 1080p. So it does pretty well browsing here on Safari, as I'm going to be playing one of the previous videos here from the channel. And the speakers on this are actually on the top instead of on the bottom like most laptops, so the audio quality is pretty good. Now this was pretty cool on Apple's website. They got this kind of animated type of thing for the iPhone 11. I know that's completely random, but back to the MacBook specs here. We're looking at Bluetooth 4.0 capability, a nice backlit butterfly type of keyboard here on the bottom with command controls and everything. And also this is the touchpad with the clicky button instead of the usual touch gesture like on the newer MacBook Pros. Now we're just going to quickly play a quick game of Blue Tower Defense 5. This is to see the performance of this using Adobe Flash 5.0, which is the newest version on Safari right now. And compared to the previous MacBook Pro, which was the early 2012 or the late 2011 model, now those have been notoriously known for some type of firmware issue, where if you were to completely lock yourself out of this laptop here, that you would no longer be able to factory reset it and able to reset the hardware on it, just like previous 2010 models. So this MacBook, if you're really in the market, this is definitely one to pick up. If not, then I would completely suggest the fact of picking up a 2010 or older as well. Just because the 2011s have a weird type of issue with that firmware, as mentioned before. Now this thing is upgradable. There is 12 Phillips head screws located on the bottom of this MacBook. And this thing is able to be upgraded to 32 gigabytes of DDR3 RAM at 1600 megahertz, which is medium type of clock speed on the RAM. And it can also be upgraded to about a terabyte of SSD if you really wanted to. Now that solid state drives are being relatively cheap nowadays, probably for relatively under $100 for about a 500 gig SanDisk or Kingston solid state drive, or even a Samsung Evo, if you really feel like splurging a little bit more, then that's definitely going to help this computer out performance-wise. This one just has basically stock everything since it was released back in 2012, so this thing is a little slow, but I mean, at the end of the day, if you could pick one up for cheap, it'll definitely be worth your while. Now, as we mentioned before, this thing has 8 gigs of RAM, and also it has the Ivy Bridge processor, which is pretty good. The processor could be upgraded too with a similar pinned core as well, which could be an i7 or even an i9 if you can find an i9 from 2012. But other than that, I definitely think this MacBook Pro, even though it is now 8 years old, is definitely worth your while if you could pick one up for cheap. But other than that, there's plenty more laptop reviews to come and everything, so stay tuned down below by clicking that sub button, and we greatly appreciate it. And also, give it a like if you like this type of content as well, and also more phone reviews and comparisons. But other than that, these are just a couple of screenshots of the laptop. But other than that, everyone, I thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you all in the next one. See you in TL.